It's another day at the next president's reality TV show. Of course, one of the problems facing the country today is restructuring. The governors will be sharing their vision on how best to restructure and devolve power across the country in order to create a balance between the federal, state, and local government. I'm still your host, Jessica Chidima Ibukwe.
We are giving you 5 minutes. After that 5 minutes, if you exceed your time, we will disqualify you totally. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Right. I will ask you what the restructuring is all about, because you are representing the country of Nigeria, right?
Yes, sir.
You tell me what restructuring is all about in 50 seconds, and you tell me why you intend restructuring Nigeria and how you intend doing that. Thank you.
Fellow Nigerians, Your Excellencies, panel of judges, I bring you warmest greetings from Obin Makali, the Executive Governor of Abia State. I am contesting under the platform of CDP, Citizen Democratic Party. I will tell you the meaning of restructuring. Restructuring means changing the administration differently. When we talk about restructuring, we talk about changing the administration of the government. For example, our government practices a unitary system of government called federalism, whereby every unit of the government depends on the federal unit of the government for its allocations. Now, I have checked so far, coming from Abia State, so many of our roads that are federal government roads, the roads have been bad for so long and has not been fixed. For so many years, the citizens cannot use the road for business. The citizens cannot use the road because the road is bad. Right now, as an incoming president, if I am given the opportunity, I would like to suggest that I am going to be practicing the regional system of government whereby the state can handle their infrastructures, can handle every resources that they have. For example, in my state, Abia State, we have salt, we have limestone, we have gold, we have columbite. If given the opportunity as a president, when you allow the state to run their own resources by themselves, they will be able to fix their roads, they will be able to build their hospitals, they will be able to build their schools, they will be able to fund themselves and then return some percentages to the federal government. That is.
You said Nigeria is running a federalism.
Yes.
That's a democratic system of government, right?
Yes.
Your party, you are not yet elected.
Yes.
What is your party and you as the candidate of the party seeing how, I'm using how now, how you intend, with sincere mind, handle such restructuring? Remember yesterday you talked about basic amenities, right?
Yes.
You spoke about what did they call it? Freedom of sustainable something and also security.
Yes.
These are part of restructuring.
Yes.
You understand? With sincerity, how is you and your party, the CDP, intend bringing restructuring to the timeline?
All right.
In 1 minute. Your time is going now. I'm serious. If you pass 1 minute, I disqualify.
I and my administration, if we are given the opportunity as we are contesting, running for this office of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, if we are given the opportunity to change things, we are going to be producing our own food, to allow every state to produce their own food, thereby creating 0% hunger in the country. So if we allow, we be producing our own clothing, thereby solving the issue of not having enough clothing. If we are given the opportunity, we are going to be building houses for the citizens, therefore solving the issue of not having houses in the communities.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Obinakalu.
Yes.
First, I want to tell you, it's a piece of advice. Allow your voters to vote for you very well, okay? But I hope you pass the next round, because I'm going to ask you restructuring, because I'm not comfortable, because the way restructuring is in Nigeria is not what you're trying to do, okay? I'm not angry with you, but I like your composure. I like your appearance, and I pray to see you in the next round. Thank you very much, Mr. Obinakalu's Excellency, CPP. I really appreciate your composure, and your presentation. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, you are from Benue, right?
Yes, sir.
In 30 seconds, tell me what restructuring is all about, and your party is PNB.
Yes, sir.
That's what?
Progressive Nigerian Party.
Progressive Nigeria. Interesting. You are trying to restructure Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
And you are not yet the president, right?
No.
Okay, good. You are now the governorship, you are the governor of Benue State.
Definitely.
If you pass 5 minutes, I'm going to disqualify you.
Yes, sir.
Tell me what restructuring is all about, first in 1 minute, and tell me what you and your party intend doing in mentioning in restructuring Nigeria, because yesterday you spoke about corruption, security, education, healthcare sector, and agriculture. How do you intend composing all these things, and tell me the kind of practice Nigeria is practicing now, the kind of system. I've already told you the answer. The kind of system Nigeria is practicing, and what kind of system do you intend using a country as an example to see how you intend restructuring Nigeria? If you pass 5 minutes, I will disqualify you. Thank you.
I go by my name, George Special, Executive Lead Governor of Benue State. I am contesting for the Office of the Youth President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, under the Progressive Nigerian Party. I will start first of all by defining what restructuring is. When we say to be structure, it means we have to organizing a system in a way that it should work effectively. Then when we come back to how is restructuring very important to the Nigerian system, it is very important, but for now, my own issue here is I am more concerned about the reality we are facing. And the reality is we have to restructure our mindset. We have to restructure everything about us. Then we'll now talk about restructuring Nigeria. Okay, we have problems on ground, like I listed yesterday, ranging from the insecurity, ranging from agriculture, technology, power, and therefore, and so forth. But right now, how sure am I, or how sure are we that if we take back if we give Southeast their region, or let's say the North their region and the West their region, how sure are we that these problems are going to solve? That is where I'm concerned right now. That is why in my own opinion and in my own administration, I will try my best to see that putting governance first, putting the people first, and making sure that their own problem is now met. Then I will now talk about how should I go about structuring that all the regions will now control their own resources.
Okay, as the governorship of the governor of Benue State.
Yes, sir.
It is assumed that you understand what the Federal Executive Council are doing.
Yes, sir.
It is assumed. And as a governor, you have ideas on what we are intending doing, because we want to contest for the president.
Yes, sir.
when is your party and how will you are the flag bearer of your party contesting under the party PNP intend doing restructuring? How soon do you intend doing that if given that mandate being the president of this reality?
I go by just the statement. Now, what is the cause of the people clamoring for restructuring? What is the cause? We have to start this from the roots. If we don't get the root right, then I think we have nowhere to go. And I start by, first of all, people feel the inequality. People feel injustice. People feel that the society is not meeting their needs. Then, when you are able to bring the people's attention and the justice system is working well for them, there is equity and equality, then I believe that people are more better off that way. They won't really think of the restructure, but I as a leader, seeing people, okay, people are happy right now, then what else? Definitely, it has called for people to now control their regions and see the need to develop their regions, not much more centering all their strength to the center. I, as the governor, and I'm contesting, I've tried to see that the reasons why people are clamoring for the restructuring is just something that can be met. What I need is just the zeal. What I need is the power. And I have the capacity. I have the capacity to talk. I have the capacity to influence. And make sure that people see reason. First of all, we should restructure our hearts. And we should reorientate ourselves. Then we'll talk about the real restructuring of the land.
Thank you, the executive governor of Benue State. First, I want you to appreciate your appearance. I want you to work more on your confidence. And I want to also advise you to talk to your voters, because this is part of where we are going to determine who becomes the next president. Thank you, voters, to vote for you very well. And I wish you the best.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. God bless you.
I know your colleagues must have tried to brief you on what we are trying to do, but maybe at the point of your presentation, because yesterday you spoke about security architecture, if I'm right.
Yes, sir.
Good. And you spoke about corruption, economic, and relationship with God. With these 6 geopolitical zones, can you tell me how you intend restructuring Nigeria, carrying these 6 geopolitical zones we have? I don't want you to tell me what restructuring is all about, because I'm not convinced with what your other excellencies have been telling me restructuring is about. But if you can convince me first by telling me how you intend carrying these 6 geopolitical zones you mentioned yesterday, and how you intend using them to restructure Nigeria, then if I'm convinced, then I'll ask you what restructuring is all about. But tell me this one first. Let me know if you know what restructuring is all about. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If you exceed 5 minutes, I'll disqualify you. Serious.
Okay. My name is John Oko. I'm the youth state youth governor for the SRTV presidential. I'm running under the political party Reform Democracy. From the question that I've been asked, how I intend to carry the 6 political zones along to bring about a better Nigeria as a president. Like I have said, I'll be a neutral man. I will not be sentimental. I'll make sure I'm free as I should be the leader, the first citizen of the nation, to be able to carry everybody along. I will make sure that the leaders will have in our various geopolitical zones, that I'm in good terms with them. I respect their culture, their religion, their personality. I'll make sure that I try my very best to be good to all, as simple as I think I can be.
So what is restructuring?
Restructuring, my term, I would say, after a proper evaluation of the system, deficiencies are recorded. So the step to make sure we get the desired results by rearranging the system to make it work is what I understand restructuring to be.
So how do you intend the system to work?
First of all, we have the law, we have the constitution to guide us. The reason why we have the law and the constitution is for proper administration without pushing or without infringing rules and regulations of the land. I will make sure I use or follow due process without exemption. And in case we will find somebody going against the rules and the law, I think the judiciary will have to take their proper course.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. John Oko.
Yes, sir.
You've convinced me, or you are trying to confuse me technically. But first, I like your composure.
Thank you very much.
Are you from Edo State?
Yes, sir.
Are you seriously from Edo State? Because yesterday you didn't dress like an Edo State. Today you are not dressing like an Edo State man.
Yes.
I hope by tomorrow they are going to dress like an Edo State man. But what I want to encourage you to do is to encourage your followers
Yes, sir.
to vote for you more. Because this is where the judges, we may see crazy judges coming very soon. Maybe from tomorrow, but this is part of where the judges are going to get their winners. But first, I want to appreciate your presentation, like I say, your composure and your manners of approach. So keep it up. I hope to see you in the next day. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please hold on. Hold on, please. Your name is His Excellency Abubakar Ali,
Yes, sir.
the man of
Patriotic Unity Party.
Patriotic Unity Party.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, you are coming from a party that I feel they should restructure Nigeria very well,
Exactly.
right?
Yes, sir.
His Excellency Abubakar Ali,
Yes, sir.
in 5 minutes, if you pass 5 minutes, I will disqualify you. Maybe from me, I don't know from how, but I will disqualify you. Because you spoke about a lot of things yesterday.
Yes, sir.
In 5 minutes, I want you to tell me, before you define what restructuring is all about, I want you to tell me why you and your party feel you can restructure Nigeria. And if I'm confused, I'll ask you, tell me what restructure is all about. Why using the patriotic party and being a patriotic personnel that I saw you yesterday, and hopefully today, why you intend restructuring Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, honorable judges. I remain Abubakar Ali, the youth governor for SCT, vying for the position of the president under the Patriotic Unity Party. Restructuring. The literal meaning of restructuring is to rearrange.
I tell you, so you should tell me why. You intend
Why?
restructuring Nigeria before you tell me what restructuring is all about.
Restructuring, this is the right time to restructure Nigeria because the current structure is not working. But before we can achieve that, we need to go through, we as the party of the patriot, we like to follow the order, rule of law. So we will have to subject it into constitutional amendment. If we go through constitutional amendment, then we go to the field for restructuring. Restructuring is the best thing that will happen to this country because the current structure is not working. For example, a situation whereby a state has a security challenge. The governor, as the chief security officer of the state, cannot command the commissioner of police or the GOC of the army. He has to fall back to Abuja before he can act. And that period between which the order will come for prompt action, a lot of damages would have been taken. But with restructuring, the governor has the state, is in charge of the state security. Immediately there is any security lapses, he will act. So these are some of the advantages of restructuring.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Walker Ali, you are coming from FCT.
Yes, sir.
FCT happens to be the center
Yes, sir.
of all the country, the 36 states of the Federation of Nigeria, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. Because of our experience in FCT, and we're having different caliber, religion, tribe, the mentality.
Yes, sir.
What is restructuring to you?
Restructuring simply means divulging power and authority for maximum benefit. That is what restructuring means to me.
So how do you and your party intend using the constitution to convince people that you intend bringing restructuring to Nigeria?
Every society wants a sense of belonging, and once you give them that sense of belonging by giving them what belongs to them in terms of power, they will align with you. For example, we here in the FCT minister is supposed to be an indigent, as a native, but it's not done that way.
Are you an indigent?
I'm not an indigent, but by the virtue of the Constitution of Nigeria, I've been in the FCT since 1999, so I'm qualified to be. I'm a resident. So the first thing I will do as the president is to make any FCT minister a native. That is from the populous tribe in the FCT, the Bagis. Yes, that is what I'm going to do. So by doing so, the Bagis will now begin to feel the sense of ownership of their own states or FCT as it were, and they will align with the government more than what they are doing now. Because if as it is now, if there is election, the SRTV minister fly to the state, leaving the state vacant. So that will address some of those issues.
Thank you, Mr. Walker Ali. I like your appearance.
Thank you, sir.
I like your composure.
Thank you, sir.
But I want you to speak more. Maybe in the next, hopefully I intend seeing you in the next round. Maybe you should work more on your followers or your voters, or your, what do they call, your electorate.
Yes, sir.
To vote for you more.
All right.
So that you can also convince the judges more to see how they can keep you in the house. I don't know if they told you that tomorrow is going to be an election day. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Okay? But I hope to see you in the next round, because you will try to convince us as a patriotic Nigerian that the way you intend carrying out restructuring with your political party. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I hope to see you in the next
Thank you
round.
very much. Thank you.
The judges, my name is Emmanuel Previso, Executive Bishop of Imo State. I'm contesting for the office of the President in the platform of NPC.
What's NPC?
Nigerian Progressive Congress.
Under 5 minutes, sir. In the first 5 minutes, we are going to disqualify you. With all sincerity. Thank you.
Yesterday we spoke about judiciary, we spoke about economy, we spoke about security, and we talked about restructuring, right? So how do you intend restructuring all this in Nigeria?
Thank you. I'm researching Nigeria. But today in Nigeria, everyone has been talking about restructuring. Both the political actors and non-actors talk about restructuring. How will restructure Nigeria?
No.
Today in Nigeria, everybody has been talking about restructuring. All the political actors and non-political actors are talking about restructuring. How will restructure Nigeria by becoming the president of Nigeria today by running a regional government? I run a regional government, like every state manages its resources. Each resources. Why the federal government will be a supervisory role? Because every state is being blessed with one mineral resources or the other. And with that, there will be competitiveness among various states in Nigeria.
So you're from Imo State or you're from FCT?
I'm from Imo State.
Okay. So this is your cultural attire?
Not really.
Alright, Mr. Emmanuel, like she pointed out, well, number one, I want to advise you on something. You talk to your electorate to vote for you more. Right? These are one of the criteria that can save you to the house. And also, well, today you spoke better than yesterday. We noticed that. And I will not ask you much, but what I want you to do is to improve more on your presentations. Okay? But I like your conclusion and also your manner of approaching how you answer a question. So we wish you the best and we hope to see you in the next round. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Your party.
PLP, People's Liberation Party, sir.
PLP.
Yes, sir. PLP, People's Liberation Party.
Okay. PLP.
So yesterday you talked about agriculture, right?
Yes, sir.
Security and what?
Talked about security and also talked about boosting the economy.
Okay.
Yeah,
And what again?
and that is all.
Are you sure?
Sure.
We're very sure.
Okay, giving more priority to the educational sector.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So how do you intend restructuring your education sector?
Okay, first and foremost, before I commence my speech, my name or the name pronounced Joel Garba, the executive governor, youth governor of Kaduna State, and I am contesting for the youth president, Nigeria, and under the People's Liberation Party. How I intend to restructure education, in Nigeria, education has suffered, a setback, if you can see, because in Nigeria now they say we have the highest out of school children in Nigeria, and again coupled with what is going on in ASU strike, you see a recurrent ASU strike and stuff. So what I will do to revamp education or to reposition education or to bring education back to life is, number one, I will try to ensure that I fund the educational sector by improving the welfare of the lecturers. Secondly, I will provide infrastructural facilities in the educational sectors, that is the tertiary institutions. And then thirdly, again, I will ensure that I also enhances technological aspects in terms of learning in the tertiary institution. And the fourth one, again, I will ensure that I introduce vocational skills, vocational training in the educational sector, because most of the Nigerian graduates, you see, year in, year out, the federal government or universities, both state and federal government, produces graduate, and they say Nigerian graduates are unemployable. But what I will do is to ensure that I train them skillfully by acquiring vocation, so that whenever they go back, they can be self-reliant instead of depending on white-collar job. And what I am going to do is that whenever the higher institution, the students are on break, I ensure that I introduce or I engage or introduce all these companies, organizations to work closely with the higher institution so that whenever the students are on break, semester break, they can go there and learn skills so that before they are IT, but before then, they will learn more on the skills and they can be able to work and stand on their own as students. That is what I will do in the educational sector. And secondly, again, in the secondary schools and primary schools section again, I will ensure that I reduce the tuition fees in secondary school to even make the education free, both primary and secondary school, so that even the children of the poor can access the education from federal level down to state and local government. I will ensure that they have the same uniform kind of thing.
And is sure you can do that?
Yes. Is it the infrastructures, the desks, the rights, the textbooks, the uniform? Because what is causing setback in the educational sector is that because federal government have their own separately, state have their own, likewise local government. But by the time I unify them together, I am telling you, be rest assured that everything is going to work out fine and there won't be any problem.
Nigeria is now. It's not only you that can do that. Abi, you have the power to do that yourself?
I have the power to do that, being the president, and we have the Minister of Education. By the time I impose it as a law, they must implement it, whether they like it or not. If truly they want to see the progress of
You realize as a governor, you have the governor of your state. You also have your state House of Assemblies.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
And it's not everything you say as a president that the governors will respond to that.
Yes.
Even if you claim you have the Commissioner of Education.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
And even if you agree, because maybe you are coming from the political party of the president, remember you have state of assembly members that are not coming from.
Yes.
How do you intend convincing
Yes, sir.
them to do that if elected as the president?
Thank you very much, sir, for asking me that question. I love it. It's a very sensitive question. Number one, I am telling you, I will create a relationship between me and them. Because all of us, we are gearing towards development. If truly you want to see the development of Nigeria, you must succumb to my own ideas because it is going to bring development to the country. I will establish a relationship with them. It is not a kind of enmity because they are from this party while I am from the other party, then we become an enemy.
So tell me what liberation is all about.
Liberation is, Nigeria is in the quagmire. Nigeria is in the shackles of insecurity, corruption, bad governance, poor infrastructures, bad economy and stuff like that. And the reason why I purported this name as People's Liberation Party is everybody in Nigeria needs liberation.
So how does Liberation Party Constitution going to work with the Nigerian Constitution to see how you can restructure the educational aspect we are talking about?
Yes, thank you so much. It's going to work. Number one.
In 1 minute.
Okay, sir. Number one, I'm going to form a constitution. After forming a constitution, we sit down with the deliberate, work on it, pass the bill to the House of Reps. From the House of Reps, that is lower chamber, green chamber, state of assembly, yes, House of Representative, to the red chamber. From there, we told them this is how it is. If truly we want to revamp the educational sector of this country, and this is how it's going to be, and then from there, then we implement it, and from there, we put it into work or into law.
Thank you, Mr. Joel Garba. Yesterday, I love your composition yesterday, the way you compose yourself, and today you have increased on that, and I love your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
But I want you to speak more with your electorate.
Okay.
Because this is where some of the percentage of the judges is going to come.
Yes, sir.
Tell them to vote for you more, encourage them to vote for you more.
Okay, sir.
Because you are trying to convince the judges with your sweet mouth, but they are not confused. Okay? But we hope and I pray that you scale through the next round. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I'm also begging on the voters to please vote for me because I am going to transform this country if given the mandate to become the president of Nigeria. Thank you so much. God bless.
To ask you questions because we are talking about restructuring. And yesterday you spoke about patriotism, you spoke about implementation and inclusiveness. Can you please, with honesty, tell me what restructuring is all about? I don't want to ask you hard questions. And tell me how you intend, being a female gender, how you intend including the male gender in kind of restructuring Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Restructuring in the whole term is readjusting a particular situation from where it is to the better and the best situation. So we want to move Nigeria from the present situation to the better and the best according to our needs and wants. Female gender in Nigeria have been marginalized to some point. I can remember I have my professor being my head when I was an undergraduate, Professor Rukaya from my university. I always inspire like how I wish one day I would be like that. So I'm going to make sure we enroll more female gender in schools, give them scholarships, engage them with different kind of courses that are going to benefit us. Like we have little number of gynecologists that are females. We have small number of people that are in research based on science. So I want to make sure more girls are enrolled and scholarships are being given to them. And make sure we see to it based on merit, not because your family or any of your family is one of the people selecting those people going for the scholarship. They just put any kind of candidate they want. They want to make sure they are the masses and they are capable and they are ready to go for those kind of scholarships. I can give example with what happened in Kano State. The then governor, make sure he enroll more girls to go specifically for medical doctors. My own younger sister is one of the beneficiaries because she's studying medicine from Sudan. She's doing her husbandship and everything. So I want to have more females in different fields as far as they are good to go for such kind of. There are people that will go for maybe entrepreneurship. We have more of a project arena in the economic aspect of the country. Then we have more of Amina in the international relations. Yes.
Thank you very much, Hadra. And well, we understand that more than 70% positions are being occupied by the men. If elected as a president, what assurance are you giving the men that they will not suffer what the women have been suffering using restructuring of your political party? And I believe your party is all about talking about restructuring, having the same idea as you do. And sometimes the man feels if the women occupy the positions, they are technically trying to revenge what they have been passed through. As a patriotic Nigerian, as you mentioned yesterday, what assurance are you giving the men that they will be inclusive in your government?
Actually, we are not going to sideline the men gender in governing this country because, let me say, we are all wired differently. Females are different from men. As they said, when you encourage or empower a woman, you have empowered the whole nation. That one is static. Like, we cannot say, okay, only women are going to, we can very, very sincere to you that we will make sure everything is going equal hand
With your sincerity, what percentage are you going to give with the NLE?
The men will take the 16%, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being sincere.
Yes, sir.
Excellency Hajara Usman, you say Professor Rukayat
Yes.
is from AU,
Bayero University.
Bayero University,
Faculty of Education. Yes.
Faculty of Education. If you have a good contact with Afasa, who's the one in the
I will do that, sir.
Thank you very much. Well, we appreciate your confidence, your composure, your presentation. I want you to encourage your supporters, your electorate, to vote for you because, well, yes, part of the voting will speak a little bit more, but I hope the judges is going to decide on who is going to win the president.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I would love to use this opportunity to even thank them, sir.
Okay,
Because
please go.
as it is now, the Kano State is leading actually. Yes.
Council is doing
It's
that.
leading with a very wide gap.
So, but thank you. I want you to tell us what restructuring is all about. First, how your party, the OMP constitution, intend working with the Nigerian constitution to make sure that restructuring come to light as if elected as the president.
Thank you so much. My name is Abubakar from the Executive Governor of Kebbi State. I will start by defining what restructure means. As it is in English, structure means the shape, what makes something. Re in English means to repeat, to recheck. The structure of our Nigerian political system, the constitution, the judiciary, and the economic structure of our state, of our Nigeria as a whole. Talking about small and medium-scale businesses, I told you that only government can provide jobs, but government cannot provide jobs to all youths. The only way the government can provide jobs to us is by not limiting our access to grants and loans. And if I'm elected the next president of Nigeria, if I make the registrations of small and medium-scale businesses free, it will make the youth that are skilled to get their enterprises and innovations registered so as to earn jobs for themselves and end up in employing other youths as a whole.
All right, thank you, Mr. Abubakar Ibrahim. Okay, we have a question.
And regarding his constitutions,
Yes, the
I know that,
constitution.
yes, while I was in school, I was taught that the Nigerian constitution was borrowed from the British constitution. And since then, we have been using their constitution. When I come to power, I must make sure that that constitution must be restructured to tally with the nature and culture of our Nigeria as a state.
Okay, thank you. Well, yesterday maybe because you came late.
I came late, I was starving, I was weak.
Yeah, I understand, but I want to appreciate your composure today. Your presentation was very, very good today. I want you to keep it up, but I want to advise you that you discuss with your electorate to vote for you more, so that the voting is also part of the critical way of either you stay in the house or being disqualified. Okay? But for the judges, we appreciate your efforts today, and we hope in the next round they are going to pass us.
I will add more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
We
much.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
So what is KYC?
Progressive Congress.
Okay.
Sorry, man, can I introduce myself before I continue?
We have known you as His Excellency QS Isa Momo,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Or is there any additional name you intend?
Not at all, sir.
Okay, please introduce yourself in 5 seconds.
Oh, sir. I'm curious. Isha Omosani.
Okay.
So, can you evaluate more on restructuring
Thank you.
In 5 minutes.
in 5 minutes?
If you pass 5 minutes, we will disqualify you.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, you spoke about evaluating
Operational system.
operational system, right? So can you expatiate it?
If I may say, restructuring is referred to as nation building. And nation building is hard, but not as we see it or make it in Nigeria. Restructuring or nation building doesn't happen overnight or accidentally. But the real test is in the leadership, which creates the real spirit of restructuring, which is the nationhood. And restructuring is the process whereby we revisit our constitution. By so doing, we remove what we want in what is not good in the constitution and replace it with what it is being good in the constitution. Restructuring can be done by bringing down or bringing together the religious leaders, the traditional leaders, together with the youth representative to agree on what is being good or what is being good for our country.
So how do you think restructuring of your economy in Nigeria?
By by giving out youth empowerment, giving out SMEs to some small scale businesses, and a lot more.
Thank you, Mr. QX, right? It's Momo. Good. You are coming from a party called PYC.
Yes, sir.
It's People's
Progressive Youth Congress.
Progressive Youth Congress.
Congress.
Thank you very much. Now, coming from Progressive Youth Congress,
Yes, sir.
what is your party doing? Or what will your party intend doing relating to the Constitution of Nigeria, seeing how you can include the youth in restructuring Nigeria? You understand? Thank you.
Well, restructuring, as I said earlier, is a nation building, and restructuring requires sacrifice. As a youth, restructuring begins with us. And restructuring is as good as fighting corruption. Because with a corrupt mind, you cannot restructure a nation. And that is why restructuring begins with the youth.
So how do you intend convincing the youth to stop corruption and trying to follow your ideology if elected as the president to restructure Nigeria?
Well, by having what we call a secret service.
What do you mean by secret service?
Like DSS, SSS, and some stuff.
So how will the DSS, being a secret service or being an intelligent organization, try to convince the youth? What I mean is that how do you intend using your ideology, being the presidential candidate of Progressive Youth Congress, right?
Yes.
What's the name of the party?
Progressive
Youth Congress.
Yes, sir.
Convince the youth to follow your ideology and restructuring, and you said that you are trying to do to make sure that they are not corrupt, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now you are bringing the issue of the DSS. How do the DSS are trying to convince, under your leadership, trying to convince the youth? What I mean is convince, not intimidating them, not threatening them, to see how they can follow your ideology. Because the youth in Nigeria today, some of them can dare you as a president, that if you think you can use your power to do that, they can decide to make sure they frustrate your government. Okay? So now, what I'm saying is that how do you intend convincing them? And you mentioned the DSS. I don't know how the DSS can use their office to see how they can convince the youth to follow your ideology using restructuring.
I'm so sorry for mentioning that DSS, sir.
Okay.
First is by being or living to be an exemplary leader.
Okay.
And be diplomatic. Well, for you to convince youth to believe in such a restructuring, you have to create an enabling environment, whereby the environment will be very conducive for the youth, both the youth, the middle age, and the old. By so doing, you have to look into the economic aspect of it, which I mentioned earlier, by providing SMEs, loans for youth and students in schools.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. QS, for Kogi. But what I want to advise you is to talk to your electorate to vote for you more, because the voting is also a critical part that the judges can decide who stays and who doesn't stay, right? I like your composure, but I want you to work on your presentation very well. And I pray that I see you in the next round.
Thank you, sir.
And please, next time you're coming, you dress like a co-guide, so that you can convince people like me to say how you can do that. Yesterday you were dressing very well, but I don't know what happened today.
I'm sorry for that.
That's okay, no problem.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Part of Kwara.
I'm from Kwara Central.
Can you convince me more on restructuring? What restructuring is?
Okay, restructuring, to the best of my knowledge, is talking about the distribution of powers and resources of the country. There has been great clamor for restructuring in the past couple of years, and though the concerns are genuine, I think the priorities are misplaced. We can't go back to the regional system of government, because what worked for us in the past cannot work for us today. The geographical nature of Nigeria has changed over the years, and demographic features have also changed. And the citizens of today are different from the citizens of the past. We are more enlightened, and we are more educated, and those laws that worked well in the past might not work well today. So I believe, while I believe that it's good to review our constitution, I think reverting to the regional system of government is not encouraged. And our party, the Progressives Alliance of Nigeria, PAN, we have the desire to maintain the existing federal system of government. However, we plan to put in place checks and balances to control the excesses of state government, as well as empower them to exploit their resources to the best of their ability, with partnership with the federal government. We don't believe that the federal government should take care of everything, neither do we believe that the state government should take care of everything. It should be a mutual partnership, whereby state governments and the federal government come together to invest, so that it's going to, at the end of the day, we are going to have something like a profit sharing instead of federal allocation. When we are sharing profit, it motivates the state government to tap into the resources that are available in the state. Nigeria is so blessed with numerous resources, both human and natural resources. And the federal allocation makes most states lazy, to be honest. And I think by the time that we see this as a business or as an economic point of view, and we actually see this as an investment, where the federal government invests on developing the resources of the states, this way the states will be motivated to bring up tangible projects. And the federal government will be able to exercise its supervisory role and bring in the necessary expertise required to exploit these resources to the best of to derive the utmost benefit of these resources. Thank you.
You're an ICT person, right?
I have ICT skills, but
okay, you read geography.
I read geography and environmental management.
Good. Well, yesterday I was convinced by your presentation.
Thank you very much.
I must confess to you.
Thank you very much, sir.
But there's something you will do for me if you pass to the next round. I promise you I'll give you my special handshake because I love your confidence, I love your presentation.
Thank you very much.
I'm not going to ask you questions. I think you'll be the only candidate I'm not going to ask questions.
Thank you very
But
much.
what I want you to do is that you maintain the spirit you have.
Thank you very much.
Even if you are not the presidential, next president, even if, I'm not praying for you not to win, but even if you're not going to do that, I see you like someone that is going to have, that the country will benefit more from.
Thank you very
okay?
much.
And well, maybe with time, there are special offers that will come. Using the judges' connection, which I am going to do that together with her personally. But I want to, your intelligence is something very, very special, and I don't want you to be carried away by that.
Thank you
okay?
very much.
So please work more on your presentation, but there's something I want you to work more that is very, very critical. Talk to your electorate so that they can vote for you more. Okay? They can do that. That is part of the criteria that can save you from the house. Okay?
Thank you very much.
All right.
And
Thank
with
you.
this, I want to ask you a question. What are your 4 point agendas you mentioned yesterday?
Okay. The first one is accountability. The second is education. The third is food sufficiency. The fourth is economy. And we have security and youth development. Thank you very much. So once again, my name is Yahya Shuaibu, and I'm the youth governor for Kwara State.
Even if I'm sleeping, I will know your name.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My name is Ramesh, Executive Governor from Lagos State. I'm aspiring for the office of the President in the next presidential election. So, to my understanding, restructuring means how you can be able to channel your powers towards the political terrain. In doing that, if I should restructure my cabal, like my government, in the center of the education. One, I will be in the central, having power to the north center, east center, east central, and the northwest, and the south. So in doing that, I will make sure that my cabinet, like my government, is in the central, and sanction the power to the governors that will be able to work towards the local government, how they can be able to get to the grassroots in making everything possible to the normal masses. And in gender balancing, if I'm made the president, as the president of Nigeria, I'm a female, in having my gender balancing, I will not be giving like 100% power to the male. I will make sure that in doing that, if I'm given a position, the female should be able to have a tangible position that they can be able to participate in. Like if I'm giving the male the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I can give the female the Minister of Petroleum so that we can have equality in running the Nigerian resources. And in education, I will make sure that in the educational system, the system that's supposed to be running the education, and we, the government, the power that we're supposed to give to the educational system, the funding, and all the necessary support that we're supposed to give to them are given back to them, and so that the educational system will run smooth and fine. That is all I have to say.
Okay. You have any question? Okay, Your Excellency, Shehu, right?
Yes, sir.
From Niger State. I want you to speak on how do you intend using your party, the PPP, to
Restructure
Nigeria using the security challenges we are having.
So if I'm to use my party to restructure
Your party constitution.
my party
Mhm.
to restructure the system of Nigeria,
security.
to restructure the security system of the country, I will make sure, as a central body, I have channels that will work in partnership with the security system toward attaining the security challenges the country is facing.
So what is your party constitution referring to the insecurity in Nigeria?
Well, in my constitution, I will make sure that we have zero. My party constitution. In my party constitution, I will make sure that we have zero tolerance to crime and criminality.
What if your ideology does not suit the party constitution? How do you intend to bring that?
So I will work in body with the party body to see that we attain and achieve that goal.
All right, thank you, Her Excellency Hajia Ramashiru. Your composure yesterday was very, very good and encouraging, and also today. But what I want to advise you a little bit is to talk to your electorate to see how they can vote for you very, very well. Because this is part of the criteria the judges will use in able to keep you in the house or to evict. You understand?
And on that side,
Yeah.
my electorate have been trying to see how we can do, because it seems like they have a problem with
Okay, we will discuss with the organizers and see how we can also work on that. Okay? Thank you very much. I want you to keep this spirit. I want you to keep this confidence. I want you to keep this composure. And it is my desire that the female, hopefully you from Niger State, is going to win this election. Okay? Thank you. You're welcome. Osun State, Abi?
Of course.
Yes, Osun. Your name, sir?
Komolafe Tolulope.
Komolafe, Osun State. APP.
Yeah.
What's the name of APP?
All People's Party.
Okay, thank you, Your Excellency. Yesterday you spoke about security, education, diversification of the economy.
Yes.
I want you to use these 3 points to see how you can restructure Nigeria, and also tell me what restructuring is all about. Maybe you should first tell me what restructuring is all about, then you use this key agenda you spoke about yesterday. Thank you. In 5 minutes. If you pass the same 5 minutes, we are going to disqualify you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, restructuring has to do with is a term that concerns, in the political context, it means this devolving power into the regional system. You know, basically, it has to do with not allowing the power to be at the center, whereby regional governments will take place. It gives room for people within the regions to develop at their own pace. Like just like we had in Nigeria before the 1966 attack, where Abu University took over the government. Prior to that time, we had the regional governments where Awolowo was in charge of the western region and Ojukwu was in charge of the eastern region. So, in a nutshell, I want to talk about restructuring. It has to do with power being shifted, power being moved to the regional parts of the government, and whereby they give back to the federal government. It makes sure and gives room for development within this region.
So how do your party, the APP, keep constitution in time working with the federal constitution, that's the presidency, the Nigerian constitution? How do you intend working together with your party constitution to see how you can achieve restructuring in Nigeria? Because it's so much believed that you believe in restructuring, right?
Of course, something everyone should subscribe to.
Okay, so please tell me.
Okay, basically, from my party's point of view, the name of my party is All People's Party. It's a party that has to do with everybody, regardless of who you are, regardless of the class, status in the society. So basically, if peradventure my party is given the room to preside over this country, I can assure that one of our ideologies is making sure that regional government is actually incorporated in our system. So how do I want to do that in context of yesterday's point I made as regards security, diversification of the economy, and education? You would recollect that I spoke about some states that have natural resources. And the beauty of this thing is that the way God has designed this country, has given this country the room to actually have one resources or the other. For the southern region, there's no place you go to in the southern region, and not specifically now southwest or southeast. So we have natural resources there, just like we have oil in the southern part of the country. We have fertile land whereby you can grow. Like now, for example, in those days, during the regional system of government, the Yorubas, the southern part of the country, they have the cocoa. That's why we have the cocoa house in Ibadan. And due to the development of extracting oil, we neglected that. So if my party is given the room to preside over this country, I can assure you that we would make sure that we go back to that system that we operated before. Although things were not really rosy during those times, but not as bad as we are right now, in the context of rapid development. It was this same cocoa house, this same cocoa radar, that was used to build some universities that we have currently in the country, in the southern part. The northerns have they have cotton, the easterners have palm tree and the likes. So, not to bore you with unnecessary rhetoric, my party has the mindset of having a regional system of government by making sure that in terms of security, just like we had in time past, we have the federal police, just like we have the regional police. So these are systems we have to bring back, whereby when there is insecurity, when there is unrest, you don't need to wait for the order of the president, just like if I emerge as president, before you take charge of your state. You have the access to the police, so you can make sure, give orders to the police directly, and the police in your region will take charge, even before the president even come on board. So that has to do with security. Now, talking about education, it was not the federal government during the Awolowo era that built Oba Federal University, really. It was the regional governments led by Awolowo. So that's to tell you that regional governments has worked, and if it has worked, it can work. So if peradventure I emerge as a president, governors who are in charge of their regions will be given free access to develop their country, their region at their own pace. In fact, one of the beauties of regional system of government, or restructuring as the case may be, is that it allows you to develop at your pace. In fact, it helps you to put other persons from other regions on their toes. Because if you see that the southern region is doing well, you won't want to be left behind from the eastern region. In fact, the northerners will not want to say, oh, we want to do something. So, as a matter of fact, a well-meaning Nigerian, a well-meaning president should look out for restructuring so that the country can develop.
Thank you, Mr. Mr. Joshua. Yesterday, your presentation was superb. Okay. Today, you added more. Okay. But you are not dressed like someone from Osun State. I don't know what happened. But I hope next time you are going to do that. But I love your composure. I like your presentation. You really captured my mind yesterday, and you will try to do that today. Maybe I'll give you a special handshake if you escape the next round. But what I want you to do is that you talk to your electorate to see how they can vote for you more, because this is part of the criteria in saying that we say the candidate who really have the desire to win this contest, okay? I want you to discuss more on them. Like I said, I want your conclusion, but today your outing, your appearance was not making me feel as if you are from Osun State. You speak more like a foreigner than from Osun State. But first, your composure was okay by me. Your presentation was okay, excellent. And your manner of way of answering questions was excellent too. Okay? So but I want you to know more on your electorate, and I hope to see you in an Osun State attire next time.
That's fine.
Alright, thank you very much.
Am I supposed to go for leadership?
Not now.
Okay, thank you.
If you succeed in the next round.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Restructuring, I think, will go a long way in helping us to stabilize and grow our economy and engage a lot of people, citizenry in general. The federal system is kind of bureaucratic to me because one central system controlling the units is affecting how well and how efficient sharing the economy is. I think if individual states are allowed to control their resources, but as far as I'm concerned, every state has something to give. And if states are allowed to compete among themselves in a healthy way, something called healthy competition, it helps everybody develop. Because guess what? Just like what is happening right now in Edo and Port Harcourt and Benin, when UK asks anything that has to do with prostitution to the council in Port Harcourt, they all move to Edo State. And Edo State now is fighting it. Now, let's have a look at the flip side. Like I said, for everything, the flip side. If we have Port Harcourt growing in the economy and the environment is friendly and its investment friendly also, a lot of people will be investing. And what happens? You realize that the majority of the citizens from other neighboring states move into Port Harcourt and try to invest there and build their life. Other states will feel challenged and they'll up their game, just like what is happening right now in Nigeria. The central Abuja seems to be more advanced technologically, amenities and otherwise. And everybody is leaving their states to come to Abuja, and Abuja is getting choked. Back in time, the original speculation for the number of people that will reside in Abuja has tripled to the original plan. Why? Because the states, the rural areas are left behind. But in a situation where these rural areas are allowed to develop by themselves and not being spoon-fed by the central, they also meet up with the standard. If you look at other advanced countries that are passing democracy and they're doing well, it's because they're practicing this unitary system as against what we are doing here. So there are a lot of benefits when we go into restructuring, because it's also help us curb the issue of minority tribes and all that. Because as far as Nigeria is concerned, when you speak about majority tribes, people just two major tribes, Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa, keeps Kanuri, Fulani, and all that part. But if we restructure and we allow states to run their affairs, a lot of people will carry along. More issues of state government shouldn't be going into the funds of the local government and local government fighting back and all that. I think people can restructure it very well.
Okay, Your Excellency, Mr. Deji, there's something you spoke yesterday that interests me. Okay? You spoke about the oil sector. Yeah. Okay? And if you check out what the NNPC has been doing, is that formerly they belong to the federal government, but now it's now a liability company, cooperative. Okay? Yeah. So, what I don't know, under your leadership, okay, I want you to see how you intend restructuring the oil sector now that it's being under the limited liability company. And also, how do you intend restructuring the educational sector, because these are part of the topmost priority and critical things we are facing.
Okay, let me start with the educational sector.
Thank you.
I think if we look very well at the Nigerian system or the federal parastatals, there are some sectors that should give it to the private sector, which I find the idea of like the telecommunication sector, for example. You can see what it has become against when we had NITEL. And even when NITEL tries to become eminent and all that, they couldn't move, because the thing about government agencies is when they are allowed to run direct service to the end users, it's not properly managed, just like we had NEPA also. Now, what they have done with the telecommunication sector is they give NCC
empowered to now supervise, regulate, and make legislation that bylaws that help to stabilize this organization. The same method can be applied in the oil sector as it is. There should be a body that will manage whatever NNPC is doing so that they will not overshoot or undershoot what they're supposed to be doing. In the same vein, the educational sector, the government have a lot of federal universities, federal government colleges, and primary schools that their hands are into. And just the way in 1999, Obasanjo managed also the state-owned properties, like back in 1980s, 1990s when I was growing up, I realized they had houses. They had a lot of properties that civil servants were staying. By the stands that they handed it over to individuals, they just managed it and it's working out well. In the same way, the education sector is looked into, because when the government has your current costs, like salary, is already a lot of pressure on the economy, and maintenance, they have the current costs. And if you ease deep, I think over 40% of what the government spends their money on is on recurrent costs. Like paying salaries, maintaining schools and all that. If they completely leave it to the private sector and try to regulate it, it helps to stabilize things. They have less cost to make and have more output. I was saying something about overhauling the curriculum and all of that. If you look at it very well, critically, most of the private schools are advanced when it comes to their cost of study, and they're going into other things compared to the federal government colleges or universities. And you have less crisis in private school compared to federal government managed schools. The strike doesn't affect them. That's why most people now eventually are, because whether you like it or not, people tend to understand which is better in the long run. It might not be cost effective, but the time management is there. But at the end of the day, the goal is achieving what you are paying for. Most people want to pay, but let them get the results. Taking your children to federal schools, government managed schools, and you're not sure of 4 years or 5 years of time to manage that, affects their decision. So most people are moving to the private sector. Why not hand this over to the private sector so they can manage it while you regulate it? Same for the oil, same for the education.
Thank you, Excellency. I must confess that yesterday we appreciate your confidence, your composure, your presentations. Okay? That still maintains today. Okay? But my advice to you is that you see how you talk to a electorate to vote for you more, because this is part of the criteria the judges will use, okay, to see if you stay or not in the next stage of this program. Okay? So I appreciate your confidence, like I said, we appreciate your composure, and we wish you all the best in the next stage. Thank you very much. You're welcome. So now we all. Yes. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Salim Musa Ibrahim, and I am the Youth Executive Governor of Plateau State. NRC refers to National Reformation Council.
What do you mean by restructuring?
Okay. You see, restructuring means changing structures to workable things. Just changing the way something is being operated. And in the political terrain, we can refer it to as changing some political happenings into other ones due to some reasons. The whole essence of structuring is any political structure that is not serving needs, that it is not serving people, deserves to be restructured. And I think we are having this conversation now because the whole political terrain that we have in Nigeria really is moving on some flows and needs to be restructured. For me, I am a firm believer of restructuring. I've always been this, and I've always clamored for restructuring. I am an advocate for it for my reasons. First, people need to understand that I am a strong believer of one Nigeria, and I so much believe in the forging of the Nigerian unity on the basis of equality, equity, and political justice. So, but however, if we look at Nigeria today, there are so many things that are not working as they should. In 1954 to 1966, when Nigeria was operating the regional system of government, Nigeria functioned better. We were more united than what we have now. We have 36 states. I can remember Yakubu created 12 states, all on the basis of creating unity and enabling people to have sense of belonging. But we don't have that. You can imagine now we have 36 states and we are more united. So that means that the creation of more states has not done more good in terms of unity to us. And if I happen to become the president, I will surely restructure Nigeria. But how do I go about that? First is that I will meet the National Assembly and come to broad agreement that we need a constitutional amendment. Because our constitutional amendment, constitution that was made in 1999, really needs to be amended. There are so many things that are not clearly stated, and most of them are not even in practice. So we need to amend our constitution, and then I will select some 7 people and form a committee, a presidential committee on constitutional reform and restructuring, so that they can be able, to come up with a model that we want that can enable us to have a feasible restructuring process. And why should we do this? You see, states like in Nigeria now, I can say that we have many states just as glorified local government as I'm referring. Because these states, they are small, they are not catering for their needs, they are not solving poverty, they are not solving the education crisis that we have. They are depending on the states, on the Abuja to give them. And for me, I just think that they are serving as, job hubs for politicians such as the governor, the commissioner. They are not really catering for the poor. This is why we need the restructuring. And how do we achieve that? We are going back to the regional system. We are going to divide. Tango Day is a template that is already here. We are going to the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. We are going to go by that template, ensure that all governors become mayors or appointed province leaders, and then we are going to have a regional governor who is going to oversee everything in the region. And everything, regions will be taken. And then on every resource that is being explored in their regions, 40% of that will be remitted, of their earnings will be remitted to the federal government. Of course, this will make the federal government, it will make the center a bit lower, but then it will never make it weak, because there are still some sovereign efforts and sovereign responsibility that will still be controlled by this center, which include the central bank, the armed forces, and a lot of our security architecture. So the center will oversee on that. So for me, I think we really need it. This is the actual trend that we need. That if we really want Nigeria to work for everyone, we have to go back to that system. And the reason why we don't have it is because the political will is not there. Because some people are really getting more advantages with this present system that we have. So I will bring my solutions here.
I don't want to ask you too much questions because yesterday we were able to complete. And today I love your confidence, your composure, which you have done yesterday. Okay? So what I want to advise you is to speak to your electorate more so that you can see how they can vote for you. And it's our desire as the voters to see that we are going to move to the next stage. Okay? I want you to maintain this spirit and I wish you all the best. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Tomorrow promises to be a day full of mind and thought-provoking presentations. Till I come your way again next time, I remain Jessica Chidimai.